Hey all, Katz here. We like to spend money on manga, so we thought, hey, why don't we do a challenge where each three of us, because there's three,
Hi.
we're going to buy a random manga that we know nothing about. Okay, you can't even know the title. If someone said, oh, hey, read this, it's great, or I think you'd like it, no, you can't do it. This is completely blind. The only thing that I'm going to do personally, and these guys can do it as well, is if I'm going to check how many volumes are in the manga or how many chapters there are, because in case I like it, I don't want to get one that's like 40 volumes long.
Yeah, I think the goal is like to find something you've never even seen before at all. Even the title or just a picture of it anyway. So let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, we're going to see who gets the best one. Yay.
Dane's ready. Let's do it. What you got, Dane?
I don't know. Apparently this guy's popular. I've never heard of this one.
You never heard of that one?
No.
Have you heard of the author?
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, but they only have 1 and 4. That's what I have.
Oh, you need 2 and
I need
3.
2 and 3.
I'm going to see how big of a degenerate I am. Not this. This
Promise
is really
Neverland. Which one's that? 3?
good. 3.
Is it the one you need?
Yeah, this will be the next one.
You're getting more of that book.
I'll be all caught up.
All right, everyone. We are back from our manga trip. We have Taco Bell in hand, and we have manga on tables. I don't know if you can see me slap that table, but I did. Anyway, we're going to go over who got what, starting with Skylar. What did you get, Sky?
So I got a rom-com because it's called Beauty and the Feast. And it's got 2 volumes from what I know. But the reason I got it is I read the back. Now let me read it to you guys really quick, just so you can get a little taste.
Let me get over your shoulder while you're reading it.
Okay. A table for one turns into a table for two. When her husband passed away, Shuko Gakumo lost her appetite for life and with it her love of cooking. But her neighbor Shuhei Yamato brings an end to Shuko's solitary existence. A high school baseball player living on his own, Shohei has a seemingly bottomless stomach, and this presents a challenge that Shuko is only too happy to accept. As her days begin to revolve around her secret hobby of feeding Shohei, will Shuko rediscover the happiness life has to offer? So I got it for 2 reasons. One, if you look here, the chapters are labeled
Oh, there's a color page.
as meal. I thought that was really funny and clever.
Meal 1, Meal 2, Meal 3.
Yeah, and then I guess the other reason I got it is because I thought it sounded like a really cool story. Her husband died.
Hold it higher, Sky.
Her husband died, and then sounds like she's falling in love with a high school kid. I'm assuming
Chad Boy.
I'm assuming Chad Boy's overage, whatever that may be, 18, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Will it suck? Tune into the rest of this video to find out.
What'd you get, Thane?
It's been sitting on the shelf for a while. Some of the scratches. Maybe that's just not. It's called Heavenly Delusion.
Speak up, Thane. I can't hear you very well.
It's called Heavenly Delusions.
Okay, now hold it up to like closer to your head. There you go.
And it
Well, let me get a good
says-
view of that cover as you read it, as you talk about it.
It says, within the safety of the walls, youths are raised in nursery settings by robots. Outside this hellscape is with powerful technology and equally powerful supernatural beings. So it's this guy I looked up. He wrote a comedy. I don't know if some of you might have heard of it, called As the Town Moves. Like, out of all that manga, that's the only one that got an anime adaptation. So this one could be interesting.
Cool.
I remember I also read a short story compilation from it. Something pretty good.
From the author?
Yeah.
Nice. And I couldn't tell you how to say that word,
Parham,
but there's not an H. I think it's like Parham Itan. Parham Itan or Parham Itan. I don't know. Tales from the Beyond. And yeah, let's read what it says. Yamagashi and Sendo are schoolmates, and that's about all they have in common. One is a down-to-earth guy in the boxing club, while the other is a brainy, bookish conspiracy nut. But when they stumble across something weird and inexplicable, sure, after class one evening, it seems they'll have to set their differences aside in order to uncover the truth behind the mysterious creatures and strange figure prowling in the school grounds. So I bought it because I thought it was going to be that kind of like edgy style, kind of like Chainsaw Man. And then I looked at the back after I bought it and I noticed that it says it's a horror. I didn't know it was going to be a horror manga when I bought it. Now that I know it, like, the pictures kind of make more sense. I guess we'll find out if I liked it or not.
I will say, I think we did a good job of getting a diverse selection.
Oh, yeah.
I got a rom-com, you got a horror, and...
Who even knows what Thames is? What kind of genre
It's
do
a
you think?
sci-fi. It's
Sci-fi?
sci-fi, yeah.
Okay, sci-fi.
It's a straight-up thing manga, then.
Yeah. Well, cool. See you guys in the future.
After we
This is past tense us. See the future us. I guess it's still past tense for you guys, but you get what I mean. Parham Itan Tales from Beyond is an H.P. Lovecraft-style tabletop RPG in the form of a manga. It is written by Kaylee Serrano, who also wrote a short series called Monochrome Factor, as well as some Call of Duty Dojinshi? Not my thing, but I won't judge if you're into the boys from Task Force 1 for 1. Anyway, Serrano is a bit of an unknown, but from what I gather, most of their works are pretty average, neither great or bad. Parham Itan is no different. It starts by introducing our main protagonists, Yamagishi and Sendo. Yamagishi is a pretty short guy that spends his time boxing. Sendo, on the other hand, is a bit of a nerd, as well as a conspiracy nut. From the get-go, it hits some pretty well-known tropes. The street smarts guy and the book smarts guy meet up in a coincidental happenstance, and they become reluctant friends who happen upon an unusual phenomenon. While heading back to their dorms for the night, an office worker-looking guy walks up to our duo, acting kinda sus. Thinking the guy might be drunk, they attempt to talk to him and tell him that he may be lost. The guy then turns into a flower-looking demon and begins to attack our heroes. Luckily for them, the groundskeeper shows up to help them out of their situation by becoming fertilizer for the flower person. Yamagishi and Sendo take off and get out of there while the flower person is distracted by its dinner. Being the tinfoil hat-wearing dude that Sendo is, he tries to get Yamagishi to do more digging with him. Yamagishi doesn't really want anything to do with the flower people or Sendo and tries to avoid the inevitable. Sendo gets his way and they start on their adventure. They meet an inspector of the paranormal, and while investigating him, they end up in the beyond. You get to see what these two are actually capable of while they are in the beyond. They get separated from the inspector when some giant bugs attack them. Here's where we see the smart and athletic team-up trope in action. Sendo figures out a way to get them back from the beyond and is trying to accomplish it while Yamagishi is protecting him, fighting off any bugs that try to attack. The volume ends with the inspector finishing off the last of the bugs that got transported to the real world with them. Just as things are wrapping up, this Gasai looking chick walks up all nonchalantly towards them with a very creepy look which drives home that vibe. Overall, the story wasn't that bad. There are a lot of questions that don't get answered in the first volume, and you can tell that the author is planning on taking the series all over the place. Personally, I wasn't really into it, but if you're someone who is interested into the whole H.P. Lovecraft style of horror, then this may be up your alley. The part I like the most, though, has to be the art. The character designs are all so unique and appealing. Not only that, but the monsters also look fantastic. I'm surprised that the author hasn't done much else because the level of quality in this volume is very high. That said, I'm also hesitant to look more into the series for fear of it being incomplete. There are 2 volumes currently printed in English, the first being printed in February 2020 and the second in October 2020. From what I can tell, it still is publishing, but I can't find anything past volume 2 in English, or even Japanese for that matter. So yeah, not looking too promising.
Heavenly Delusions is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi manga created by, Masakazu Ishiguro. I think that's right. Ishiguro's best-known work is a manga known as And Yet the Town Moves, which is a slice-of-life comedy about an airheaded teenager who works at a maid cafe while making her way through high school. The author's current manga is not as lighthearted and simple as their others, but the result is the start of a compelling adventure. The manga starts with a boy named Tokyo with an I, living in a facility with other children that seems to have special gifts, kind of like the X-Men or My Hero Academia. Tokyo has a conversation with his friend Mimi Hime about the world outside of the walls, and she claims to see two people who come to save her, and one of those people looks exactly like Tokyo, not the city. The old woman that runs the facility tells Tokyo that there's nothing but monsters out there, but Tokyo is still haunted by what Mimi Hime tells him. The manga then cuts to the actual protagonists, Maru and Kuriko, on a quest to a destination simply known as Heaven. See the title? There, Maru is to inject a look-alike, who is most definitely Tokyo, with a mystery fluid. But is never formed what happens next. Guess you gotta buy more volumes. Throughout the journey, Maru and Kuro get into a bunch of wacky hijinks along the way, and Kuriko has a laser gun. Yeah, just a laser gun. It's a sci-fi manga, what do you expect? Oh, and it runs on AA batteries. How convenient. There are also monsters that roam the outside world, but they don't look very cuddly. But Maru has this shonen power that can touch the hearts like Sora, but he actually crushes them like Kano from Mortal Kombat. Fatality. Maru treats Kuriko like a big sister, only calling her sis when he speaks to her like he's a siscon. At the end of the volume, when the two board the ship to cross a river, Maru tries to put the moves on Kuriko. Ooh, yeah. But Kuriko rejects him pretty hard. I mean, not because she's a lesbian or anything like that, but because she's actually, get this, a guy whose brain got transplanted into a girl's body. Whoa, what happens next? I don't know. You're gonna have to read the next volume. This is a pretty dang good start to what could be an amazing manga. I want to see where it goes next, because there is some fascinating world building, and the characters have their own charm and mystery about them that make them very compelling to journey with. The artwork has both a simple yet detailed design, which brings to life an atmosphere of a long-lost civilization, and the one monster that is shown in this volume has some incredible design and creativity behind it. And I want to keep reading to see how creative these monsters get and how our heroes fend them off. I also want to know what happens when Maru meets Tokyo when he gets to heaven. I just want to see how this manga ends, even if I'm not as drawn as I was in the first volume. But by the way this is going, this could be one of my favorite new series. A solid read. I enjoy.
Beauty and the Feast is a light-hearted rom-com manga that was written by Satomi Yu, published by Square Enix. Yeah, I didn't know Square Enix published manga either. As far as the author goes, I couldn't find much information other than they have written another manga called Maria Sensei wa Imoto Gachaizi. Beauty and the Feast stars our two main protagonists, Shohei Yamato, who is a first-year high school student that is on the baseball team, and Shuko Yakumo, who is a 28-year-old widow that basically stays at home and does nothing. These two end up meeting each other because they stay in the same apartment complex, and Shuko brought over some rice balls to introduce herself. Shohei ends up going over to her place pretty much every night and she feeds him. She gets really excited when she sees him eat her cooking, and then she almost bursts when he asks for seconds. We don't find out much about Shuko's dead husband in the few chapters in this first volume, nor do we hear too much about Shohei's family other than they are never home. I really enjoyed the art style that the author went for. It was simple with not a lot of background going on, but it still looks great and is very satisfying to look at. Also, she real hot. Yeah. Both characters are quite enjoyable as well. I mean, it's only 7 chapters, but what we get in those 7 chapters are some really cute moments between the two. From picnics, to some romantic balcony scenes, to checking out cherry blossom trees. Still a little weird though, because I mean, she's 28 and he's 15, 16-ish, but hey, I mean, I didn't write it. They also introduce another love interest of Shohei named Rui Nishihara. She's a crazy high school girl. Every chapter is a little bit different, but with the two usually hanging out in the end and eating some sort of meal that Shuko has cooked. Honestly, the first volume wasn't breathtaking or anything, but it was a fun read. It doesn't really leave off on a cliffhanger getting you to read the next volume, But that being said, I am looking forward to when the next one drops in September. I've heard from the internet that where the manga is right now is really good, so it appears that it does get better. If you are into typical rom-coms, this is probably a manga you can pick up and enjoy. I mean, I'm pretty happy with my purchase, plus she's really cute. This was fun. I actually enjoyed this. Cole and I specifically have been recently getting into like reading physical manga, probably the last month and a half or so, and I think it's way better than reading off of my phone.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And I really like reading random stories, like just picking one that I know nothing about. Like that was fun. So if you guys enjoyed this challenge and you want another one, well that's too bad because we're already giving you another one. So you get it whether you want it or not.
Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you guys liked it. Next time we do this, we're going to be doing a buy each other a manga. So I can draw a name out of a hat and see who we get, and then we buy whoever we got. Volume 1. Or Volume 7 if we're that kind of a jerk. I don't know.
Man, what would be fun is if we could get Zay involved too, is we did like and this doesn't even have to be something on the channel. Maybe this would be like a Patreon exclusive, but we do like a book club, but it's manga club.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Thank you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, or whatever. As always,
keep it rad.
Bye-bye.